10, 50, 100, or 250 or more? Just how many watts do we really need? Welcome back to New Record Day. My name is Ron. If you are into two-channel audio, consider yourself an audiophile or music enthusiast. Welcome home. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you know when the next video drops. So, just a heads up, using my favorite rigs with the M3 Sapphires, one being only 10 watts and the other 250 watts, I've recorded some binaural sound clips using our dummy head that's worth checking out. You done living in misery. And the link to those are in the description box down below. So yeah, let's have some fun and get started. So just a few weeks ago, I asked a question on my YouTube community page. If you were to guess how many watts does Spatial Audio M3 Sapphires need to sound amazing, is it 10, 50, 100, or 250 watts or more? Hundreds of people voted, and in today's video, we find out who was right. So before we begin, there are a couple of comments that came in that I wanted to highlight. First comment. I'll be honest, not sure if watts is the appropriate benchmark. The current damping factor and the amp being efficient down to 2 or 4 ohms at the very least might have something to do with it, and that is totally true. Second comment, depends what is the distance from the listening seat. Now, these two comments are worth holding up to the light because they are both spot on and worth contemplating as we chat about the relationship of watts to speakers. Sound pressure level, as we know it, is derived from a number of factors, and just pointing to watts is oversimplifying the conversation we're having today. Personally, I think that watts are so misunderstood that I decided to ask this question in hopes to get this conversation started as a way to help some of you guys see this from a new perspective and perhaps consider different options down the road when buying your next amplifier or speakers. So, what's the answer to the question? How many watts do the Spatial Audio M3 Sapphires need to sound amazing? Drum roll, please. Was it A, 10 watts, B, 50 watts, C, 100 watts, or is it D, 250 watts? Ladies and gentlemen, the correct answer is all of the above.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
They are all correct, but before you take off or lose interest in this video, hear me out. Having tried a number of amps with the Sapphires, what I've learned here is there isn't only 1 or 2 amps that will work well, but the truth is this: many amps ranging from a measly 10 watts all the way up to blowtorches with over 250 watts all sound fantastic, which reminds me, we need to chat about sensitivity. The Spatial Audio M3 Sapphires are rated at 92 dB and are 4 ohms. What this means is with 1 watt at 1 meter, this speaker is capable of playing up to 92 decibels. Now, I should stop here and explain that how sensitive a speaker is measured seems to be all over the map with different manufacturers, and it's really important to ask questions whenever you see sensitivity ratings that look a little generous. Because I know these speakers so well and have measured them myself, I can confirm that the manufacturer's rating is the same as what I've seen. So, knowing that with only 1 watt at a meter, we can get these things to wake up, the next thing we need to consider is the room in which the speaker is going to be living in. And as mentioned in one of the comments, how far away are you from the speakers? Some folks will listen to the Sapphires, or any speaker for that matter, in what is known as the far field. As it implies, you are further away from the speaker, and depending on the room, the speaker might be closer to the front wall. In this example, it's entirely possible that reaching for a more powerful amplifier might be needed depending on how loud you like your music. Granted, there are other factors at play, but the general concept is this: the greater the distance from you to the front baffle of the speaker, the more power is required to play the speakers with authority. In this example, I would probably choose something in the ballpark of 50 watts or more, but again, this is using something like my room dimensions as the example. Now, because all of the answers are technically correct in this poll, I'll tell you now that if blowtorch amps are what you love, this is probably the best scenario to bring out the big guns.
And see if she likes the goods.
The same can be said for large and very large listening rooms. So yeah, go with a Hagel H390 and have some fun. The Midfield, which is probably close to where I end up using lots, video is in the card above me here, will bring the sapphires deeper into the room and closer to you. Now, in this example, 10 watts, like from this little chip amp prototype from GR Research, is all I need. In fact, it's so dang good sounding that it's what inspired me to make this video in the first place. To give a little bit of context, I will typically listen to music around 82 to 90 dB, decibels, when critically listening. With this amp, I'm not even pushing it and can easily get this loud without any discernible distortion or clipping. In the Midfield, powerful amplifiers can still work and work well, so don't think just because you have closed the gap on the speaker that choosing a more powerful amplifier is a bad idea, because it's not. It just means that you won't be working the amplifier very hard to deliver the goods.
Oh, it's a deep burn. Oh, it's so deep. Ah. Oh, I could barely lift my right arm.
Last, some folks, including myself and even Clayton Shaw, who is a designer of the spatial audio speakers, really enjoys listening to sapphires in a near-field scenario. And while it might look strange, I get it, you have to give this a try if you haven't. In this example, we are pulling the speakers very deep into the room and bringing them very close to the listening position. Similar as to what we see in studios or in sound mastering scenarios, this is getting you closer to the direct sound of the speakers and further away from the room effects. Now in this example, even as low as 10 watts is probably overkill, and I'd imagine that depending on how loud you like your music, you are probably only using single-digit wattage from the amplifier to begin with, and no, I'm not kidding. So yeah, in this brief video, my goal was to open up the conversation about watts, what's actually needed, and even more, give some ideas on how sensitivity and placement can contribute to what the end result is. And with that, make sure you check out those 2 sound clips in the description, and let me know what you guys think. Also, what's been your experience with watts and speaker sensitivity? Leave your comments down below, join in on the conversation, and I will see you crazy knuckleheads in the next video.